good luck, I think all he came to say is the love belongs to all of us. There are no closed doors. The love is in your heart. The chosen are all of us. All of us. Hare, Hare, Hallelujah, Namaste. Om and Amen. Praise Allah. Shalom. Hare, Hare, Hallelujah, Namaste. Om and Amen. Praise Allah. Shalom. God belongs to all of us. All of us. Chosen few are all daughters and sons of every nation with a father and mother's love. No one will be ever denied, no one. There are no closed doors. The love is in your heart. The chosen are all of us. All of us. Hare, Hare, Hallelujah, Namaste.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I like that. Did you have a birthday? Yes. Happy belated birthday. It's Mello and Nicolette, myself, welcoming you to the Wednesday night revealing experience. Tonight we have a guest pianist, John. He's at the center. What's the name of the center? He's where Reverend Catherine is now. Yes? Yeah. And Cole. Let's give Cole some love. Let's give them some pre-love. Sweet. All right, y'all, here we go. Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go, be free. You sound good. Come in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. Yeah, spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in from the rain. Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go. That's right, Mama. Come on in and take a seat. That was good. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. We welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here, spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in. We welcome you. 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 Come on in. Thank you, Nicolette. Thank you, sir. I love that you felt that and stood up. That just was so, I totally connected. Thank you. How are we feeling? Connected? Sweet. Let's sing about it, huh? Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal, reveal the peace. Oh, reveal the peace that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, what do I see? Right here. Reveal the peace in me, the joy. Reveal, reveal, reveal the joy that I was meant to be. When? Joy. Not sometimes. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal, oh. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time, love is what I see. Yeah. And every time I open up, peace is what I see. And every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the love in me.
Thank you, Cole. Thank you, John. Am I right? Thank you, Sunny, once again for that wonderful, inspiring, beautiful way to begin an evening together. So let's take that into prayer for each of us. Find it where you find it. Stay where you find it. Be with where you find it. For it is the one power and the one presence that is your life. That is the life of each one here. That is the ultimate creation, the infinite possibility, the everything ever known, everything that ever will be known, expanding in and out of all that is. And as part of that tonight, we bring that joy, that peace, and that love from that song into this sanctuary, into our hearts, into all that is claimed and called for, especially during this holiday time, this time of festive love and showing all that we are as the life of God. And doing that, we bless each other, bless this time, bless the message, bless everything that happens here, knowing full well it fills us with vibrancy and life and love and strength and wisdom and hope and peace. The same that we want for each one here and for each one in our community and for each one on the globe. And so with that, we know that all is well, for God is here providing, providing, providing. And so it is. Hello, everyone. It's a good night, and it's December 12th month of the year, month 24 of the revealing experience. So that's pretty amazing in and of itself. Tonight we are continuing in our wonderful romp through Science of Mind because we've been getting booked up all year. We are at the ends of the collections of pages that we have been reading, and we have a lovely message that will come forth out of that tonight titled Quantum Knowing. And I looked up quantum, and somebody told me that it meant infinite possibilities, and Wikipedia told me it meant the most minuscule particle that's enough, and somehow both of those fit. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of that tonight. But I wanted to take a minute tonight, since it's the end of this 12-month chunk of time. We seldom look at this little revealing experience, purpose, and greeting here in the folder. So I'd like to read that and then a little piece from Ernest as a way to move into everything that we know to be the truth of us tonight. We come together to advance oneness, wholeness, love, and joy. Through inspirational music, uplifting talks, deepening meditations, and lively dialogue, we intend to reveal wholeness in all areas of our life. Together we grow in understanding of our purpose and expand our consciousness through our community spiritual practice. Weekly, we recognize our divine humanity and actively participate in the reciprocal nature of life. Freely, we share our unique gifts with one another and leave with a profound sense of our oneness in all things. Because we consciously co-create our sacred space as we gather, we are fully present to reveal joy, peace, harmony, love, abundance, and divine beauty for all to experience it collectively. Our interactive time embraces a deep sense of I belong, therefore I am. Utilizing the teachings of ageless wisdom, the science of mind, and our spiritual practice, we allow our natural state of being to express fully. And in the words of Ernest Holmes, what we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Feel like I need to say, and so it is after that one a little bit. Yeah. So, quantum knowing, Reverend Sunshine Daye, always knowing exactly what we need to hear tonight. So, once again, let's bring her up here and get this rolling.
I think I'm good now. Hi, everybody. I love these new lights. I'm so grateful that we're in a spiritual community that is self-supporting through its contributions, whether it be financial contributions, whether it be the service that it took and the people hours and time and energy that it took to beautify our meeting place. Some call it sanctuary, some call it our gathering place. We are indeed abundant, and I'm just so grateful for the gift of this community and how special we are. Great reading. I wonder who wrote that. You know, it's interesting because when Dr. Christian and Reverend Tammy invited me to lead the Wednesday night service and be here, they were like, you can do whatever you want and have it be something that comes from you. And it's interesting that here we are 2 years later and the reading is still so appropriate and still And the outpicturing of it is what was intended, is that we are in a place where we can come together in spiritual community, honoring where we are in our own personal journeys and honoring where we are as a community in the bigger journey. And that our purpose is to awaken to our greatness and to awaken and deepen our consciousness so that we are actually living our genuine life. That we put some things in place and that we have some practices in place to such a degree that we can really live full out. And that in living full out, the outpicturing and the benefits in our life and what happens around us just kind of proves that we are walking the talk, that we are living our genuine life. I too, like Jan, looked up the word quantum. In the School of Ministry, we studied quantum physics, and we studied, what's true in one place is really true everywhere. And I love our teaching because our teaching is really that place, that intersection, or in quantum physics, we would talk about the entanglement, the connection of where science and spirituality really cross, where they meet. And where they meet, that place right there is really the tofu of our teaching. Okay, meat for some of you, meat and potatoes for some of you, okay? Want to be inclusive, right? And that it's in that place, in that cross-section, that we actually can begin to grasp what is the actual truth of life and how we can really use it not only for our personal good, because really there is no personal good. There is only the collective good. There is only the good for the one, and the one, we are a part of that one. We are the individualized expressions of the one. So even though I may study science of mind philosophy, even though I may know these universal principles, and I may use prayer, meditation, and service, and tithing, and all of these wonderful, wonderful tools to enrich and deepen my spirituality, all it really boils down to what it brings me just back to is that we are the one. That the individual is part of the bigger collective. That God is expressing beautifully and magnificently as each of us. Now, when I say God, I'm not talking about Santa, who's coming to town soon, right? I'm not talking about somebody who's taking notes or who's punishing because I'm not behaving or who's rewarding because I am behaving. When I say God, and when we talk about God in this teaching, we're talking about an energetic. We're talking about a power and a presence that is not made in our image and likeness, but instead we're made in its image and likeness, okay? Because I think what happens is that, it's written that God made us in its image and likeness, and then we try to return the favor. And we limit God, or we minimize God, or we have these parameters and ideas about what God is supposed to be or not supposed to be. Whereas if we just begin to take the panels off, if we begin to dismantle the corral, or the room and the walls and the buildings that we've put around this idea of God, and begin to really focus on the allness that is God, we begin to recognize that it cannot be contained, and we begin to recognize that our idea of it has been so minuscule and so small that no wonder we as human beings turn away from religion or God, or we go, God can't help me with this one, I'm in trouble. because we have limited this idea of this power, this presence that is everything. It's major. You know, too many times we begin to tell God, maybe in our prayer or even in our contemplation or just as we're driving along in our cars as we do, and we begin to tell God or we begin to tell life how big our problems are. And we begin to talk ourselves into ways that we cannot solve them or that they cannot be solved, when instead we can be telling our problems how big our God is and how big life is and how we live in a universe of infinite possibilities and all things are possible. Anything is possible. We begin to then, through our study, through our meditation, through our spiritual practice, to begin to recognize that because we live in infinite possibility, that there is an unlimited amount of opportunities, but of occurrences that can collapse into our experience. So, interestingly enough, on the way from Long Beach here tonight, we were just in some downpours of rains in various sections. And as we're coming along the road, I'm paying attention to my thoughts. Because I know that as it is very dark, as the rain is coming down, as I see red lights, white lights, as I see people, hydroplaning or not, or going fast or going slow, or all of a sudden there's these big white lights behind me and I'm in the carpool lane doing the best that I can with what I have, I can easily go into this place of fear. Ooh, look at that puddle. Oh, don't want to go there. Or, oh, wow, look at them. Are they going to hit me? Let me move out of the way. Or, that I can easily go into this place of, am I going to get to Seaside okay? Or I can begin to simply recognize and know and bring into my awareness and my consciousness that everything is already in divine order. There's no need for me to have to spin my wheels thinking about whether I'm going to make it there or not. I don't have to be concerned with anything else, time, place. I'm simply knowing that when we arrive, that everything is in divine order. Whether we get here at 5:30 or whether we get here at 6:35. Moving into that place of knowing. Moving into that place of knowing. And I call it quantum knowing because as I looked up the word quantum, it is the smallest amount that is necessary. We were laughing in the car because a lot of times when people talk about having a quantum leap, they think that it's like this leap across the Grand Canyon. Wow, that was, and really it's kind of like, that was a quantum leap, folks. That's a quantum. It's the smallest particle, the smallest amount necessary. Necessary for what? Necessary for that change to take place. See, a lot of times we think, wow, you know what? I can't get into all that praying and meditation. It's just going to take so much time. I don't have the energy. I'm not as spiritual as you. Or, oh, you have so much time because that's all you do. You don't understand. I have kids and grandkids, and I have 14 jobs, and I don't sleep very much. Da, da, da. We can begin to talk ourselves into just like why we can't engage in spiritual practice when all that's necessary is that quantum knowing, that quantum leap, the smallest amount necessary to actually lock us in to a trajectory of living an amazing life. I begin to think about a locksmith and how a locksmith or a safecracker You know, those people who listen and they have the stethoscope and they're not doctors, but they're just turning that dial and they can actually hear when the chain, and I'm not a locksmith and I don't know much about how lock systems work, but what I gather from it and what I'm talking about in terms of this quantum knowing or this even quantum leap or the smallest amount necessary for a change is that, you know, when you can almost hear the deal just kind of drop into place. And sometimes we can be so aware of when it is that change has happened in our lives. And sometimes we just don't know. There's this great small little chapter in the back of this book called Alcoholics Anonymous. And it talks about a spiritual experience. And it talks about some people having this wonderful spiritual experience, kind of like the parting of the Red Sea, where it just happens, boom, and now all of a sudden, your life changes because there's been this recognition, this big, something major that has happened, this awakening that has happened. And now you can really begin and you're on the path of living your genuine life and things are beginning to unfold. It's interesting because in that same chapter, it talks about having this spiritual experience, but they call it of the educational variety. And as I read on and as I read on, it talked about this educational variety is really, what that really means is I do it over and over and over again. And then I do it some more, over and over and over again. And then I do it some more, and I just kind of stick to it. And before you know it, why? My life is different. And I don't necessarily know in what, you know, when the change actually happened, but because I just kind of did it over and over and over again, the transformation began to happen. Quantum knowing, that the smallest amount necessary for the change, necessary for our awakening, necessary for our deepening in the truth and the knowing, our oneness with all of life. You know, last week I talked a lot about our oneness and our wholeness, and I talked a lot about the preventing stomach aches and how our minds create. And that's what our reading was for today. Our reading was really about how we create the flu, the cold, gripe, whatever you want to call it, feeling under the weather. And the quantum knowing, that smallest amount that is necessary to stay healthy, is all sitting with us. With each and every one of us. What are we participating in to know our health and our wholeness? When things come up, what are we entertaining? What are the things that we continuously tell ourselves? What does my spiritual practice look like? My affirmation, my meditation and contemplation time? How am I of service? You know, here we are one more time where the news is in our face, where we can actually see separation. What is our part in minimizing the confusion? What is our part in staying healthy and not allowing our mind to go off on a tangent to where it begins to affect us physically? And now not only are we no good for ourselves and our families, but now we're taking time off of work, or we're even creating other things in our bodies. Ernest Holmes talks about that the cold, the flu, those things, influenza and gripe and all of that stuff comes from the mindset of confusion. The mindset of confusion. How often are we experiencing illness in our bodies to that place where we can actually point back to something that we might be confused about or irritated about, or some thought that we might be entertaining to the degree, meaning we're playing it over and over again, we're confused about it, we don't have the answers for it, but we stay kind of in that. You like that sound effect? It's almost like this low-grade fever, and we just kind of choose to stay there. Or like back in the old days when we had records, before CDs, and it was scratched, and it was just like, it was like a hiccup. Or even with CDs now, it just kind of sounds all distorted. How often do we stay and play that same CD even though it's distorted? How often do we actually stay in the muck? Now I know that great things come from that, right? Like a beautiful lily comes from like all of that muck. But how often do we suffer the consequences of entertaining thoughts that are not for our highest and our best? All we need is that quantum knowing, that smallest particle, that smallest amount necessary to really step into the truth of who we are, the truth of our world, the truth that there's one power, one presence, one life, and that everything is in divine order. Everything. Even in the world of appearances where it seems that there is complete chaos or confusion, I have to know that everything is unfolding in a divine way. That doesn't mean that I get to sit back and go, well, God's got this. I'm just going to sit back and chill. All right, God, let me see you work this out. What it means is that we are active participants in the world of effects. We are active participants in the world of effects. So if there is something that we are seeing and or experiencing that brings discord, I have the opportunity, each of us has the opportunity to examine and look within ourselves to see where we are actively or maybe even passively agreeing and believing with status quo and mediocrity and allowing this stuff to continue to happen. Or are we doing our own housekeeping, if you will, and checking the cobwebs in the corner, looking up under the rug, dusting up under the rug, sacudiendo todo, meaning, like airing it all out, like getting rid of the dust, really doing some deep cleaning, some house cleaning, so that we might bring up that which no longer serves us, that we might know our oneness and our wholeness, that as we, in fact, step into that truth with a quantum knowing, with just enough that can affect change, not only in my own life, but then in the lives of others, that is our call. It is not to sit by passively, and I'm not talking about that we have to go out and chain ourselves to trees and, do all kinds of absurdities or things that we, like an act up, spiritual act up, like back in the day. But I am talking about doing our own housekeeping. I am talking about spiritually looking within our hearts and minds to see where these hidden thoughts and beliefs are active and we're unaware of it. Because what happens is that we have these beliefs that were instilled since we were children, stuff that we're not even aware of, that is acting as a law onto our life. Things we're not even consciously aware of. And let's face it, don't want to sit at home or take my time off from work or my free time or my vacation time or my leisure time and examine myself and find fault with myself and find areas and have to do the work. Like, who wants to do that? If you signing up, I have a workshop now. Right? Because this is not like what we do. Oh, so what did you do on your long weekend? Well, I did some spiritual housekeeping, and actually I found places in my life where I'm very biased, and I find places in my life where I take shortcuts and I steal from others, and I rob people of their joy. What did you do over the long weekend? Nobody wants to do that, and admit it. Because some of us do. We go on those silent retreats, and we do. Well, we don't want to admit it, right? Because nobody wants to admit that kind of stuff lives within us. But it does, Blanche. It does. And unless we're willing to take a look and just examine, or maybe even just kind of take a peek and see that it's there, because it is our own consciousness that contributes to the outpicturing of all, because we're one. We're one. My consciousness, my attitude, my way of being affects the whole. So it is incumbent upon each of us to do our work, to uncover, to discover, to discard that which no longer serves us, that which is no longer necessary, that which is a lie, and that we've actually, carried it like it's Louis Vuitton luggage and it's, cool. The smallest amount of knowing possible can simply help us to make that shift. Quantum knowing. Quantum knowing. Because quantum knowing also means that what is known here is simultaneously, instantly known anywhere else that folks want to access this knowing. That it is not only available here, but it is available everywhere. And so as we collectively and individually begin to really steep in this work, in our own spiritual growth and unfoldment, then that knowledge is known elsewhere. And when we tap into the energetic of those great spiritual people that we love so much, whether it be our celebrity folks, the Wayne Dyers and the Deepaks and the Thich Nhat Hanhs and the Gandhis of the world, as we tap into the quantum field, what they know is available to us, is available to each of us. We can know it instantaneously. It's that smallest part, that smallest amount necessary. The answers are available everywhere, all the time. When we engage in our spiritual practice of meditation, affirmation, prayer, sacred service, when we simply contemplate or enjoy life, because enjoying life is a spiritual practice. Whether it's surfing, whether it's knitting, whether it's being with your children or being with other people, that practice of simply being in the joy of life is a spiritual practice. And as we engage in that activity, as we are in that, we're on a vibration, on a vibratory level that is heightened. And that energetic that we can tap into is instantly known if we're open and available to it. If we decide that confusion is not for me, confusion is not for me, I'm going to be clear. I'm going to do everything I can to be clear. I'm going to study. I'm going to sit and dwell in the presence. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to pray. I'm going to be around like-minded folks, or even folks with a higher vibration, that I might be elevated myself. That whether it happens in an instant or whether it happens as a result of doing the same thing over and over again, and all of a sudden I recognize that my life is different. It is that smallest particle, that quantum knowing, that smallest amount of knowing that can make that shift, that can lock it in. I'm not telling you something that I don't know about, but indeed something that comes with practice. That's why we have practitioners. We have licensed practitioners and we have practitioners. Meaning, if you practice this way of life, you are a practitioner. If you practice this, you're a practitioner. That was a goal. When Sonny and I first walked into the rooms at Agape, that vibration there. Some of you have said it about Seaside. When you walked in, that there was just this vibration. There was just something about this place. There was this energetic. It can be felt. It had to be experienced. That's the vibration, and even more, that is available for us to simply tap into so that we might recognize our life as a life of God. Because that is who we are. How can we? And that's the daily question. What activities can I participate in that I might know my life as the life of God? That I might know my oneness in all of life. That I might know my eternal life. That I might know my love, my joy, my peace, my power, my presence. And that as I know that this is my truth, that I know that this is the truth for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. What can I participate in? So, what we're going to do now, of course, as we do every Wednesday, and as we have been doing, we simply go into the silence, and we know this truth for ourselves. So as you clear your laps, and as the lights come down, allow your eyes to simply and gently close. Recognize that your heart is beating and that you didn't have to beat it. You had nothing to do with it. Notice that you're breathing in and out and that you didn't even have to set a timer to remind yourself to breathe. And that every organ, that every action, that every function of your body is working in divine timing, and that you had absolutely nothing to do with it, but that there's this divine order and presence and life that is living you. It is God. It is that vibration, that energetic of love, of life. It is who and what you are. It is who and what we are. I am what thou art, and thou art what I am. Our life is the beautiful and magnificent way that God is showing up on this planet. So just for the next 2-3 minutes in the silence, we're going to recognize, we're going to see the sacred, we're going to hear the sacred, we'll speak the sacred. And we'll recognize that all life is sacred. how grateful I am for this time in the stillness and the silence. Even if just for a few fleeting moments, we were able to recognize or see or simply even practice and instill this practice of meditation, this practice of sitting in the stillness and the silence. For it is indeed in this practice that we allow ourselves the opportunity to know our life as a life of God. And how grateful I am for each sacred yes. For our own way of saying yes to life, yes to spirit, yes to abundance, yes to love, yes to joy, yes to peace, yes to oneness and wholeness and clarity and divine beauty and creativity, yes to life. Our very presence, physically, consciously, streaming, our very presence here at this service is confirmation that we are indeed doing our part to live free from all discord. That we are actively interested in knowing a greater truth and a deeper truth. Oh, I know what I long for. It's that true love that I adore. And so when I go deep within, I see that the truth is there. Wow. It's life. In me and you, it's life everywhere. So I anchor in this truth. I anchor in this knowing and this oneness. I give thanks for it. And I give thanks for this spiritual community that has come together to grow and to continue on this path of growth and unfoldment, that we might participate in a world of awakening and a world that works for everyone. I give thanks for those who came before us and for those who come after us, who will continue to pave the way for peace on earth, goodwill toward all of humanity, to earth, to all life, in the recognition that all life is sacred. I give thanks for this moment in prayer, and that this truth is being revealed in our own life and in the greater community. So for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. And together, we allow it to unfold beautifully, and we say, and so it is. And so it shall be. Amen. Look at all these beautiful faces. I just love it. And I just love you. Well, we got great music coming up because we have John Schultz in the house, right? Foltz. Yes. And he's an accomplished pianist, and he's accompanied tonight by Cole Miller and Sunny Daye. So I can't wait to bring them up, but we got to do some housekeeping first. And that is, we get to remember that it is our conscious giving time where we get to share with this spiritual community in a financial way, where we have this opportunity to support our Seaside community and how we support the greater community. So now is a time where I invite the ushers forward. Thank you, Dennis and Reverend Karen, thank you so much for your sacred service. And the invitation is for you to take out your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, that which you've brought to share with the spiritual community. And as you simply hold it in your hand, recognize that it has come into your life and that it has been a blessing and a benefit to you And now you're simply taking a portion of what you've been given, and you are blessing or gifting this spiritual community, that we might continue with our programs, our services, with our outreach, with the way that we show up in the world and the way that we show up in our spiritual community, that we might be a gift and a jewel onto not only the immediate community, but that we make a difference in the world. And so simply give thanks that you have this to give, and know and bless it, that as it goes along and that as it goes forth into this community, that it indeed enriches and blesses all communities that it touches. Become grateful in your heart for something, and as the basket comes, simply bless the baskets with your gifts, your tithes, and your offerings. And so it is. Ushers, go forth, multiply this consciousness. And the reciprocal nature of life is that we give and get, the ebb and the flow. So as you get and as you give, you get and you give and you give and you get, and that's just the way life is. So be prepared for some more getting as we bring to the stage Sunny Daye.
Thank you, beloved. Hi, beloveds. Sometimes these lights feel so bright. I just want to sit Indian style over there and sing, you know? Someone's in need of a prayer today. Did you do your part? Someone's in despair this day. Have you answered the call and prayed? So many are seeking the way to go, and they need your light, you know, for your prayers of love lifts them high. It heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Your prayers of love, it lifts them high, heals them, sustains them, and sets them free. Have you spoken the word today? Did you give your all in prayer? The world is in need of what you say. Have you answered the call and prayed? 'Cause so many are seeking the way to go, and they need your light, you know, for your prayers of love. It lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Your prayers of love, it lifts them high. A little more piano. It heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. You are the place you need to start. So throw open your mind and use your heart. Don't waste the time, and don't you delay, no, no. 'Cause so many are in need of a prayer today. Oh, so many are in need of a prayer today. Did you give it your all? You see, somebody's in despair this day. Have you prayed with chains them. Y'all don't mind?
Go ahead, Sunny Day. All right. Well, we have a few moments because this is the part of our service where we actually have an opportunity to hear from you. An experience, an aha, a triumph, a glory, a nugget that has maybe turned on, or that quantum knowing that you've experienced. So this is an opportunity to maybe hear from a couple of you who want to just simply speak your truth and your knowing. Who shall that be? Come to the back. I got you. How are you, beloved? It's good.
Get a chance to shake you.
I know.
Thank you for being. There's only one thought I have,
Mm-hmm.
and it had to do with this quantum stuff.
Yeah.
When a butterfly flaps his wings in South America, the vibration is felt all over the world. We're just a little quantum butterfly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. Indeed. Yeah? All right. It's the butterfly effect. That little yes makes a difference everywhere. Hey, Doug.
Hey, it's been a while. So,
Yeah.
So the thing I was reflecting on, it's interesting, it's so relevant to where I'm at right now in my life, is that whole thing about the cobwebs and going in, just really calibrating and finding out, like, what's my vibration, what's going on right now. And the thing that I have found so valuable, and the more we go into meditation and have these practices, no matter how it shows up, because it's different for everyone. Like you said, it could be walking on the beach, it could be exercising, it could be something more like what we have here in a more formal capacity of meditation and prayer. Our bodies talk to us.
Yeah.
And there's signals and things that come up. And I've recognized recently on a personal level that there's been areas where I've felt out of alignment. And I've got a friend here who knows very much about that, and I was sharing something today that I made a conscious choice as a result of recognizing areas where I wasn't in alignment to step away from something professionally. This was not working, was not in alignment, because I could see the effects it was having in my life, both in terms of getting flus and colds and just feeling not fully myself, and how it can show up in other areas. And that's what's so important, to become as conscious as possible, to recognize what are the patterns that are playing out in our life. And are those patterns supporting us or not? But when we go into meditation, it allows us that time to quiet our mind, to recognize, because in that stillness, something's speaking to us. Call whatever the something is, whatever we want, but there is that recognition to know. And then to have that awareness, that knowingness, that faith, whatever you want to call it, to take that quantum leap. So I actually made a decision just to step aside from something because it wasn't working. No clue what's coming next. And I know completely that it's all going to work out, just because once we start to calibrate ourselves and vibrate on a level that's in alignment with our values, with why we're really here, everything takes care of itself.
Absolutely.
It's when we continue on and live in such a way that we're out of alignment and we're in an environment and there's energies around us and we continue on that path, that's where those misalignments continue to keep playing out. So it's becoming aware and then doing something about it and just knowing that that leap is right there. So
Exactly.
Anyway, cool.
Thank you, beloved. All right. Going to wrap it up with some wisdom in the body of a young, beautiful girl. If you don't know, now you know.
But I just wanted to say, because I've been having problems, and I talked to my mom about it, about making, not exactly making friends, but like, you know, just like, I always want play dates with them, and they never ask me. I've never had anyone do that. So I just said to my mom yesterday night that it's not much of that, just like try not to hang out with the cool kids, because before we came here, we watch TV while we eat, kind of. So we watched The Voice, and I don't know if you heard of it, but so someone gave, what's her name? Have you ever heard Try, like, by Kobe Collet? She gave this one girl she told her what to do for one of the song, and she totally changed her whole act, and she's the youngest one there. So, and just try not to hang out with the cool kids, because if you do the right thing, you're the cool kid, and if you do what they do, you're on the other side of it. So
Right. Be yourself. Do you. Right? Be guided. Be guided. Allow yourself to be guided and to know your truth. And then you're the cool kid. I've been trying to do that, and be the cool minister. Am I doing a good job? Yeah? Good deal. So, we're at that part of the service where we have an opportunity to thank folks for their sacred service. But before I thank everybody for being a sacred service, I really want to thank you. Thank you all for coming, being here week after week, month after month, how you show up for yourselves. Because what's important is that we're on this spiritual path together, and that we become kind of like what Nicolette just said, that we begin to listen to that internal message within, and that we are obedient, kind of like what Doug talked about. Because what we know is that when a butterfly flaps its wings someplace, it makes a difference everywhere else. And with that in mind, I'd like to simply share with the spiritual community that Sonny and I are being called to open up our Wednesday nights and to allow a greater yet to be made manifest. And so we're going to have a celebration here on December the 17th, which is a Wednesday night, and that will be the last night that I will be your minister here, and Sonny will be your inspirational music here, as we have been showing up for the last 2 years. What we know is that there are no mistakes and no accidents, and that as we are obedient to the calling and opening up that space for greatness, that it is also opening up the space for Seaside's greatness and for the depths and the growths and the awarenesses that will come as a result of having 2 brand new ministers come and be here with you on Wednesday nights. And I'd like to introduce them to you. If you would just stand, please. So we have Reverend Laurie Mack and Reverend Debbie McDonald. And starting in January, they'll be facilitating and doing the Wednesday night services and leading us into the greatness and into our next chapters and into our greatness here at Seaside. So I wanted to make sure that I share that with you. So remember to mark your calendars for the 17th, because not only will they be here as well, so we can all get to know each other and make that transition, that as December is the month of closing and as we come to an end of 2014 and open up to the newness of 2015, that you'll have an opportunity to be here with all of us in celebration of what is yet to come. and the grandeur and the glory of our spiritual growth and unfoldment as we go along the path with these two beautiful ministers who are going to share their insights and their love with our great Seaside community. So I totally appreciate you. With that in mind, Christmas Eve is no service. And then, of course, our beloved Christine, Reverend Christine Tillotson, she always does an amazing New Year's service. So Wednesday night, that is the last day of this month, for New Year's Eve, is going to be a wonderful, wonderful service. So please avail yourself to that as well. So Jim Bianchi will be back with us next Wednesday. In the meantime, we definitely want to give some love to John Foltz. John Foltz, thank you so much for your love and your talent and your gift. Appreciate you being here with us tonight. Thanks to Jim. Jim, he's not here, but let's thank Jim because he's been amazing. Jim Bianchi in Massachusetts. But Cole Miller, thank you, Cole Miller. Thank you, Sunny Daye, for that beautiful song tonight. She felt it too, huh? She had to put that mic down and give it to you. I love that about her. She just had to give it to you. All right. Tim Griffin, thank you so much for taking care of our audiovisual, making sure that we're archived and that we're seen all over the world. Melanie, thank you so much for your sound and everything that you do. Ginny, you're the best coordinator ever. She makes sure that everything runs smoothly and beautifully, and I so appreciate you. And tonight, radiating the light is Sandy Atkinson. She's been in the back silently radiating the light, knowing the perfect unfoldment of our service. And thank you, Jan. She represented our practitioner corps on the podium here. Both of those beautiful practitioners are going to be available after service tonight. If you'd like prayer, they're going to be in the chapel right here on the left side as you come out of this door. And they're here to serve you. They're here to be a prayerful presence. So if there's something on your minds and your hearts that you'd like prayer around, please see them. If you don't want to pray right there with someone, right behind Sandy is our prayer box. You can fill out a form, and then that form will come to all the practitioners and the ministers here at Seaside. And we will know the truth for you about whatever the situation or the circumstance is. We'll know the truth. We'll have a prayerful presence around whatever it is that you'd like prayer for. All right? And thank you so much for being here tonight and for coming. See you in the next week. And then the week after that, we're going to do a potluck. So see Jenny, or just bring whatever. Just bring your presents. And just come so that we might celebrate together the end of the year, the end of this chapter, and the new beginnings, and that we move into that space from a celebration. So we're not stuck, right? We're not stuck. We're in celebration of it all. But we get to feel our feelings, but we still are in celebration mode. All right, so let's have the girls come up, and we close in prayer, and our prayer is sung. It's in your bulletins if you're new. Tonight, you can look at it in your bulletins and in your programs there, but otherwise, you can just follow along with us. Front and center, my beloveds. All right, please rise as we sing our closing prayer. I love you. Great. This is our prayer. A song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices. In love we stand. This is our prayer. A song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices. In love we stand. We lift our voices. In love we stand. We lift our voices. I love you. Everybody gets a hug in the family room.